So students, a quick recap what we did last week. In the last lecture, we started with chapter number 6 of science part 2, classification of plants. In that, I explained you how living organisms are divided into prokaryotes and eukaryotes according to 5 kingdom system. Okay, children, can you tell me who proposed the 5 kingdom system? Give the answers through the chat box. Name the scientist who proposed 5 kingdom classification system. Very good, Avdut Kamble from standard 9th A. First to give the answer. So he is Robert Whittaker in the year 1959. How he classified the 5 kingdom? Class Monera, or you can say kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista. Yes. Then kingdom Plantae, kingdom Fungi, and kingdom Animalia. These are the 5 kingdoms which are already done in standard 8. Then in this class or this year, we are learning kingdom Plantae. We have to only focus on kingdom Plantae. So basis for classification I explained last week. That is, what is the main basis of classification? Do anybody remember what was the main basis of classification of plants? Which was the first criteria for classification of plants? Give the answers in the chat box. Very good, Aditi Singh. Sorry, Aditi Singh, Aditi Durge, Aditi Gaikwad. So many students have given the answers. That is, the presence or absence of organs is the first criteria for classification of plants. Okay. Suppose if you are classifying higher plants, there are many different characteristics there. Can you name some of the characteristics how higher plants can be classified, students? Very good, Vikramjit. That is presence or absence of fruits and flowers. On the basis of that, we can classify higher plants. Okay. So presence of absence of seeds, fruits, flowers, we can classify into 2 main types. Who remembers which are the 2 main types in which we can classify the plant kingdom? What was the name given? Very good, Aditi Gaikwad. They are called cryptogams or phanerogams. Yes? How many have read the textbook? All have purchased the textbooks? I told you, I given you a homework to read the textbook. Yes or no? Whatever I'm explaining that day itself, if you will read, you will remember what I explained. Those who are not reading textbook, they will forget. So keep reading the textbook daily. Okay, Shardul, you have purchased yesterday. It's okay. You can read it from today. Okay. Now, depending upon whether seeds are enclosed within the fruit, phanerogams are divided into 2 groups. What are they? Very good, Shamili Jadhav. They are called gymnosperms and angiosperms. Next question. Angiosperms are further classified into two groups depending on the number of cotyledons in the seed. Give the names of that two groups. Very good. Brachytidae, monocots and dicots. So the students who are answering, replying quickly, that means they have read the textbook and they understood, right? Okay. Now, cryptogams. I told you, cryptogams, there are 3 divisions in cryptogams. Can you name all the 3 divisions of cryptogams? Very good, Shardul. Thylophyta. Second. Very good, Shivam. Bryophyta. Yes, Sudhir Kumar Phatak. Pteridophyta. So these were the 3 students who answered me quickly. That is division 1, Thylophyta, division 2, Bryophyta, and division 3, Pteridophyta. Correct? Okay. So this much we did last week. That is on Thursday. Correct? Now we are going to continue with division 3, Pteridophyta, which I not started. Explanation I not started. Only Thylophyta, in which I explained you regarding Spirogyra, Ulva, Chara, and then Bryophyta we completed, in which we took the example of Funaria, Marchantia. Okay, so this much only we have completed, and I have shown you related videos. Yes or no, students? Okay, now there are some students, suppose if you are not able to hear the video, it's okay, but at least if you will see the video, you will actually see that plans in front of you. Okay, in the textbook only diagrams are given, but when you will watch the video, actually you can see the how the Spirogyra or Chara or Ulva looks like, how Marchantia, Funaria, Anthoceras looks like. So it is very useful. Some students are given the comment in the comment box that they cannot listen to the video, but they can see it. It's okay, no problem. Okay, main thing is to see the diagrams. You can watch the diagrams. All the actual plans you can see in the video, whereas in textbook there are only diagrams. Correct? So that will help you to understand in a better way. Anyway, I'm going to explain you, right? So along with explanation, if you'll watch the video, it will be more helpful, especially in science subject. The concepts will be much more clear. Yes or no? How many of you agree? Yes. Okay, Shardul. Who else? Okay, Aditya. Okay, Aryan. Fine. So let us begin today's lecture with Pteridophyta. Right? I took a quick revision in which you all answered very well. And today I'm going to start with Division 3, Pteridophyte. So let me share the screen with you. Okay. So in the screen, you can see some plants. Correct? Now these plants are from Division 3, Pteridophyta. Now plants from this group have well-developed roots, well-developed stem, well-developed leaves. Okay, so you can identify the root, stem, and leaf. And there are also separate tissues for conducting food and water. Xylem and phloem is also present, which was absent in the previous 2 divisions. In division Thylophyta and Bryophyta, it was not well developed. Whereas in division Pteridophyta, what you can say? They are well developed. Correct? You can identify the root, you can identify the stem, and you can identify the leaves. That means they are having true root, true stem, and true leaves. Along with that, they are having separate tissues, that is xylem and phloem. You should remember the characteristics of each division, students. Okay. Now, in Pteridophyta, the plants do not have flowers or fruits. If you'll observe these plants, that is fern. For example, fern. Okay, this is a fern plant. Now here, you will not find any flowers. They are garden plants. Right? In the garden, if you will visit the gardens, parks and all, you will find these type of plants. How many have seen this fern? It is very common. You can find it in the gardens and all. Yes. Okay. So these plants do not have flowers. Okay. Okay. Nihal has seen it. Okay. There are so many students who are saying they have seen this plants. Now, if you'll observe these plants closely, what you will find, see here. Now look at this diagram. Okay. Some students are joining late. Don't be late, students. See, this is a leaf of sporangia in sori on leaflet of fern plant. Okay. There are certain brown colored circular structures you can see. That is nothing but what? Spores. And where they are found? Along the back side or posterior surface of the leaves. You can see this diagram. It is also given in your book. Okay. So this sporangia in sori on leaflet. I told you spores. What are spores? The sporangia produces spores. So during favorable condition, these spores will germinate. They are useful for germination of plants. So new plants will grow from these spores. Okay. So ferns, there are different names of ferns. Ferns like Nephrolepis, Marsilia, Adiantum, Equisetum, Teres, Selaginella, and Lycopodium. So these are different names given to different variety of ferns. Then we are having, see, Selaginella. Okay, this is Selaginella, green colored leaves. You can see here. This is also plant of Pteridophyta division. Then we have Lycopodium. Okay, so Lycopodium is also a plant of Pteridophyta division. If you'll observe these plants closely, you will not find any flowers or fruits. They are having root, stem and leaf, but they do not bear flowers and fruits. Now, how they reproduce? They reproduce by spore formation. So that's why we call them as they reproduce asexually. Also by forming zygote, if they can reproduce. Then we can say sexually by zygote formation. So both the way they reproduce, both sexually as well as asexually. Okay. And they have a well-developed conducting system. So conducting system is also well-developed. That means xylem and phloem is also well-developed. Okay, that is about phylum Pteridophyta. Division 3. Now this comes under cryptogams. So cryptogams has 3 divisions. They are division 1 Thallophyta, division 2 Bryophyta, and division 3 Pteridophyta. So now you have completed all the 3 divisions of cryptogams. Correct? So I hope everyone understood very well about Pteridophyta. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a video which will help you to understand in a better way about Pteridophyta. Okay. And some students so students, we have completed till all the 3 divisions of cryptogams. Now we are moving to phanerogams. Correct? In phanerogams, we are again going to learn 2 divisions. Division 1 gymnosperms, division 2 angiosperms. So here I have shared the screen with you. You can see two plants, cycas and still there are some plants like Christmas tree, Piscia, Tuja, Morpanki, Pinus, Devdar. Okay, so these are all the three plants belong to division 1 gymnosperms. Now what first we will discuss what are phanerogames. Phanerogames, they are having some special structures for what? For reproduction, and they produce the seeds. That's why they are called phanerogames. Okay, the plants which produces seeds, they are called as phanerogames. Now seeds that is needed for reproduction. Seeds are formed in which contain embryo and also they contain stored food. Okay, so seeds are useful for reproduction in plants. That's why these plants belong to phanerogames. During germination of the seed, all the stored food will be used up in the initial growth of the embryo. So depending whether the seeds are enclosed in a fruit or not, they are classified into gymnosperms and angiosperms. Okay, so let us see gymnosperms. You might have seen garden plants like hibiscus, Christmas tree, lily, cycas. Okay, if you'll compare them, there are many similarities, there are many differences you will observe. Okay, because some are gymnosperms, some are angiosperms. Now gymnosperms, mostly how they look like, they are fully evergreen, they are perennial. Do you know what is mean by perennial, students? Anybody knows the meaning of perennial? No. Okay, Avdut is saying no. Okay, fine. I will explain. There are three types, that is annual, biennial and perennial. Annual means in 1 year. They will live only for 1 year. Okay, biennial means they are having life for 2 years. And perennial means what? They will live for many years, many years. They are very big trees which can survive for many years. Okay, so these plants, especially, they are evergreen, perennial and woody. Woody means they are having woods, big forest trees. Okay, the leaves form a crown over their head. Now, for example, cycas, you can see a crown on the top. All the leaves are forming like looks like a crown on the head. Yes or no? Okay. So these plants are having male flowers and female flowers. Okay, on different sporophylls of the same plant. They are having both the type of flowers. Now seeds of these plants, how they are? They do not have any natural covering. That means they do not form any fruits. They are open. Okay, they are naked seeds. Naked seeds means they are not having any covering. So that's why we call them as gymnosperms. Gymnos means what? Naked. Sperms means seeds. Okay, so naked seeds are called as gymnosperms. Fine. I hope everyone understood this very well. Once again, I'll repeat, gymnosperms are mostly evergreen, they are perennial and they are also woody. How their stems are? Without any branches. Like you can see the diagram of cycas I have shown. Okay, so cycas is a best example for this gymnosperm. The leaves form a crown, and these plants are having male flowers and female flowers. Okay, and these flowers are all produces seeds. And how the seeds are? They do not have natural coverings, they do not form fruits, right? Normally what we find, after eating fruit we get the seed. If you eat an apple or mango, how we are eating the fruit, and then what is left behind? Seed that we are not eating, that we will just throw it away. But these plants are having seeds, they don't have fruits. Okay, so these plants do not form fruits. That's why what we call them gymnosperms. Gymnos means what? Naked, and sperms means seeds. Okay, so example is cycas, Christmas tree, tuja, and deodar. These are the four examples. Okay, fine students. So I hope you all understood very well the division 1 gymnosperms. Okay, so here we find some plants of mustard and maize. Correct? So they belong to the division 2 angiosperms. Now the flowers of these plants, they are having special reproductive organs, and the flowers develop into fruits. Also they develop into seeds. And how the seeds are? They are not like gymnosperms. They are within the fruits. So they are called as angiosperms. Angios means covering. There is a covering around the seeds. Hence they are called as what? Angiosperms. And these plants, seeds are also divided into two equal halves. So that day I told you, yes, groundnut. If you will soak the groundnut in water for some time and just press and see, after 8 to 10 hours, you press and see. What you will find? That groundnut is divided into two equal parts or two equal halves. That's why we can say the groundnut plant is a dicotyledonous plant. And if you will soak the mango seed in the water for 8 to 10 hours, then you press and check it. Still the mango seed will not divide into two equal halves. That means the plant is monocotyledonous. So I hope you understood what is the meaning of dicotyledonous plants and what is the meaning of monocotyledonous plants. So many examples you can write. Okay, tamarind seed. Can you give me tamarind? What about tamarind seed? Is it monocotyledon or dicotyledon, students? Yes, monocotyledon. Correct, Aditi. Because we cannot divide tamarind seed into two equal parts. Okay. Cashew nut. What about cashew nut? Is it monocotyledon or dicotyledon? Dicotyledon. Correct, Vedant. You are right. So cashew nut, if you will press the cashew nut, you will get you two parts, two equal halves of cashew nut you can get. That means cashew nut is a dicotyledon. Okay. So here some points are given regarding dicot and monocot. So distinguish between dicot. How the seeds are in dicot, two cotyledons. If you will distinguish with monocotyledon, what you can say about seed? In monocotyledon, there is only single cotyledon. Now, if you will compare the roots of dicotyledonous plants and monocotyledonous plants, what you can say about dicotyledonous? Roots are well developed. Primary root is present. What is meant by primary root? Primary root is the main root, that is tap root. Whereas in monocotyledon, we find fibrous roots. Now, let us compare the stem of dicotyledon with monocotyledon. In dicotyledon, the stem is very strong, very hard. You cannot break with your hands. For example, banyan tree, peepal tree, mango tree, they all are having strong and hard stem. But mango tree is exceptional. It is coming under monocotyledon, whereas this banyan tree that is having strong and hard stem. Whereas if you will check the stems of monocotyledonous plants like banana plant, bamboo plant, onion plant, what you will find in bamboo plant? The stem is hollow. Hollow means what, students? What is the meaning of hollow stem? Yes, very good, Daksha. Hole. There will be a big hole inside the stem. So that means what? It is called hollow. And banana. In banana plant, you will find the false stem. How many have seen banana plant? False stem means what? The stem is not so hard. You can easily cut it with a knife. Yes or no? You might have seen banana plants in the village. Okay, even in Badlapur you will find it. Yes or no? So you can easily cut the banana plant, the stem of banana plant with the knife. Can you do it for banyan tree? No, we cannot do for banyan tree. Correct? That means banana plant is having a false stem. So they are coming under monocotyledons. Next comes onion plant. Onion plant is having disc-like stem. How the stem of onion plant looks like a disc. You have seen the disc of our computer disc and all, how it looks like, circular shape. Yes, it looks somewhat like that. Next, let us compare the leaves of dicot and monocot. Okay, now the leaf of dicot is having reticulate venation. Now what is the meaning of reticulate venation, children? Reticulate venation, anybody knows? No, Shardul, it is not means rectangular. No. Okay, fine. Many students don't know the answer. Fine, I will explain. See, if you will check the leaves, there is a certain pattern inside the leaves. Net shape structure you can see. If you will dry the leaves and you will check it in the sunlight, what you will find, the veins inside it, they all are forming a net-like structure. Okay, there is certain pattern formed inside. That is called as reticulate venation. Venation is reticulate. Okay. Whereas if you'll check the leaves of bamboo or banana, onions and all, how the leaves are having, they don't have any net shape structure on the surface. They are having parallel venation. Straight lines are there. You have seen banana leaf. Yes. So in banana leaf, how the leaf looks like a big leaf with parallel lines over it. Yes or no? So that parallel lines, that is called venation. Okay. I hope everyone understood how to differentiate dicotyledonous plants and monocotyledonous plants on the basis of the leaves, stem, root and seed. Okay, now we are going to study about the flowers. How the flower of these plants look like. Now in dicotyledon, the flowers are having 4 or 5 parts, or they can be multiples. Multiples means 8. What is a multiple of 4? 4 twos are 8, 4 threes are 12, 4 fours are 16. That means they are having 4, 8, 12 or 16 petals. Okay, sometimes multiples of 5. If If they are multiples of 4, what we call them as tetramerous. If they are multiples of 5, 5 parts or more than 5, multiples of 5, like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, what we call them as pentamerous. Okay, so that is called tetramerous or pentamerous flowers. I hope everyone understood. So the flowers of these dicotyl plants are either tetramerous or pentamerous. Now what about the monocotyledonous flowers? Flowers with 3 parts or in multiples. That means they are having 3 parts or their multiples. Means 3, 6, 9, yes, 12, like that way. That's why we call them as trimerous. What we call the flowers of monocot? Trimerous. So that is about dicotyledonous plants and monocotyledonous plants. So let us continue to watch that video in which you will again watch the plants of angiosperms.